I'm not making any money. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Fair use. Yeah, it says World War III on the brink. You have to fly in only rabbi who can summon Molech.
Does everyone else think it's a nice Jewish family? From the outside, you appear to be a nice Jewish girl.
Definitely.
And you all are worshiping the devil inside the home?
Right. There's other Jewish families across the country. It's not just my own family.
Really? Things. You don't have to give us the gory details, but what kinds of things went on in the family?
Well, there would be rituals in which babies would be sacrificed, and you would have to,
Whose babies?
There were people who bred babies in our family. No one would know about it. A lot of people were overweight, so you couldn't tell if they were pregnant or not, or they would supposedly go away for a while and then come back.
Wait, so you witnessed the sacrifice?
Right. When I was very young, I was forced to participate in that, in which I had to sacrifice an infant.
And the purpose of sacrifice is to what? Is to bring you what? What are you sacrificing for?
For power.
Power.
This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21. It says, but test them all, hold on to what is good. Right? KJV, prove all things, hold fast to that which is good. Right? This is a New American Standard Bible, but examine everything, hold firmly to that which is good. But examine, right, in NASB, but examine everything carefully, hold fast to that which is good, right? So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach HaKodash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father, and have come back to the fold. Shalom to your sisters, your Chwatim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yehawada with the lesson, because you see the video. That was the Jewish celebrating, doing a sacrifice unto Molech, whether mock or real, right in the presence of the world. I'm pretty sure lots of people seen that video in the world in that time of 1930, and they basically did, right in front of their face, worshiping Satan. But people were so excited, and they did not test, they did not examine everything that they seen, and to prove, right, because the Lord said, prove all things, right? You're supposed to prove that these people, and And somehow, when it comes to us, what they call black Hebrew Israelites, which we're not, we're the Israelites, the true Hebrew Israelites. They come through and examine us and this and that and try to, basically get you off your try to tear you down from your excellency, right? They want to cast you down from your excellency. But no question about who these people were, right? And how they fit Bible prophecy. They just said they did. They came out and did a song and dance. Right to Satan, right in front of their faces. and that's it. Case closed. Now the Balfour Declaration, now that fits prophecy when that's not in the scriptures. There's no Balfour Declaration in the scriptures, right? Let me skip down here and get some of these cross references. It says yeah, so this is good. Slovakia. Satan, man. Fine. Anytime, every time, when I'm not doing a lesson, I don't gotta spit. I don't have to do nothing. Fine. As soon as I gotta do a lesson, all of a sudden I gotta spit. My voice is all whatever. But let's go ahead and continue. It says cross reference. Says Acts 17:11 says, now the Bereans were more noble minded. See, and that goes into having a royal mentality. See, and the whole time these people didn't have a royal mentality in the world. They wasn't noble minded, right? They was definitely not nothing like the Bereans, right? Noble minded. They were more noble minded than the Thessalonians, for they received the message. See, and the whole point is the part of the message you're supposed to. It just told you one of the things, one of the key principal things is to what? Try all things, test them, right? Prove all things. Oh, I'm so and so. I'm woo, woo, woo. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to prove it. You're gonna have to prove it. I'm gonna have to see a little more evidence than just a Balfour Declaration. You know what I mean? A little more evidence than such. But we get it. That needed to happen because what? A bastard should dwell in Ashdod, right? So that had to happen. In order to fulfill prophecy, so he can be in that land. I think it's Ezekiel. So Ezekiel 35:6. I'll get it, Lord willing. And it says, more noble-minded than the Thessalonians, received the message with great eagerness and examined the scriptures. See, and that's what these people are supposed to do, man. They seen these people saying that we fit Bible prophecy, yes, 1930, whatever, 1940s, whatever it is, whenever they got the Balfour Declaration, that really sealed everything, right? I think it's 48, right? 1948 or whatever, the Balfour Declaration or whatever it is. But you're supposed to examine everything, and then you testing them. But how do you truly examine them? Through the scriptures. Wait a minute, these people trying to say that they're the, you know what? Go through these scriptures, examine the scriptures every day to see if these teachings were true. Oh, so you're trying to teach us that you're the Israelites? No, no, no. We're the Israelis. We're the Israeli. And they're basically telling you that right in front of you. They're telling you that they're not. We're the Israelis. Oh no! Oh, are you the Jews? We're Jewish. A little play on words, and then people just ran with it. From that time to this time, those people are in the land. They're basically running the world through the banking system. The Rothschild banking system. They have every pretty much every nation in the chokehold. I think except for Iran, and that's Iran has been their thorn in their side. That's why they want to go to war against them, right? Let's see. It says, yeah, beloved, believe not every spirit, right? But test the spirit to see whether they are from the power. See, that's ultimately what they were supposed to be doing. But they seen a song and dance, and these people said, we're the Israelis and we're Jewish. You wish, and that was it. Balfour Declaration, dot, 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 we're there, For many false prophets have gone out into what? The world. And that's where they're at, man. All over the world, there's these Jewish or Jewy synagogues. And then what? They're running a fast one on the whole world, and there's nothing you can do about it because you're gonna be anti-sim. Now you're council. You're part of the council culture, right? It says do not be. What's it? What? Do not be conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? And that's part of going through the scriptures, because they were giving you a renewing of the mind of who the Israelites was, but you wasn't being like the Bereans, where you were testing it by the scriptures, because then you would go through by the scriptures and you'd be like, wait a minute, these people don't line up to the scriptures. So if I'm gonna get a renewing of my mind, it's gonna be through the scriptures, right? But be transformed by the renewing of your mind, then you will be able to test, right? Because you're constantly going over the scriptures and you're like, wait, now you could test them. Okay, here. Oh, since you say what say you this? That they're supposed to be a bastard in Ashdod. Are you that bastard that's in Ashdod? Right? I know that we always teach that when it says they're of the synagogue of Satan, we teach that it was really talking about the Jews who were, they were really connected to the system, and they wasn't being really brotherly because they were connected to the system. So it's ultimately saying that, but you can use it to, test them, keep them on their toes. Wait a minute, it says there's someone supposed to be of the synagogue of Satan, and they say that they're the Jews, but they're not. Are you those people? Why not? I mean, we know what it's meant to. But hey, put them on their toes, test them. you know, you know. But it says then you will be able to test and 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 approve what is good, pleasing, and perfect will of the power of the Most High, Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. Right? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, see, wisdom, it's Proverbs 4:7 says, wisdom is supreme, so acquire wisdom, and whatsoever you may acquire, gain understanding. See? Okay, wait a minute. Where is these people coming from? And why is this happening? Okay, I get that. This is all set up because a bastard's supposed to dwell in Ashdod. These people are supposed to claim the land. They're supposed to, right? You know? But it all had to happen at that time because people, but we're starting to see it. It says, says to the law and the what? Testimony, right? Because, everything's going to come with some type of test, right? You can't be a witness because this word goes back to being a witness. Testimony goes back to being a witness. But you had to go through something to be a witness, right? It says, if they do not speak according to this word, see, and that's part of testing the spirit by the spirit. That's part of you being like the Bereans and having being noble minded and examining things through the scriptures, right? And it says, Salakia, what was that? Yeah, if they speak not according to this word, there is no light of dawn, right? What's supposed to be, there's no light in them if you read the regular. But dawn just means like when the sun started rising, dawn. No, there's no light, right? Which Yahweh Shai is the day star, right? Which is your light. So Yahweh Shai is not in them. So you were supposed to test to see if Yahweh Shai, or where are they getting these J's. Eventually, where were they getting these J's from? Where were they getting this Hasim and Hashim and where were they getting this stuff from? But of course, the Lord set up our the apostles for last. Our teachers should not be removed in a corner anymore. Yeah, so this is Ezekiel 36. I thought it was 35. I think I was thinking of something else. But yeah, it's 36:5. It says, therefore, thus saith, the Adon One, Yahweh, the Most High, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Rakakadash. Surely in the fire of my jealousy, I have spoken against the residue of the heathen, right? And that's all you nations, all you other nations, and even 2/3 of Israel, right? And against all Idumean, that's all you Edomites, right? All you Esau, Edom, right? Idumea is another way of saying Edom. So that's the whole house of Edom, right? The self-proclaimed so-called white man. See, that's another thing. They didn't test the spirit by the spirit according to the spirit. The spirit is the scriptures, right? Which have appointed my land into their possession with joy of all their hearts, with despiteful minds, right? And cast it out for a prey, right? And that's all it was. That's what they were trying to do. That was the point. So this is what the sovereign Yahweh, right, said, my jealous anger burns against these nations, especially Edom. Ooh, nice. Especially Edom, because they have shown utter contempt for me. Ooh, by gleefully taking my land. Oh yeah, like happy, glean. Okay, because I was like, glean, okay. Yeah, it's like happy. It's like another saying. Happy, very happy. Gleefully taking my land for themselves as plunder. Ooh, right? And that's what they're doing. They're using the land, they're using the status of saying, hey, we're this people of the Bible. And then people are just donating money and giving money to them. And then of course they use it to be the international and the world bankers, and they cripple countries, be economic hitman, and everybody has to give these people money. And now these are like these benign people who no one can see being evil, but all they doing is showing that all they do is wickedness, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go up from where I was at. This is Ezekiel 36:2. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh Basham Yahushua, or the Adawan power of the Most High Yahweh Basham Yahushua, because the enemy, right? Because it's ultimately what Esau Edom is, and these other nations, right? And 2/3 of our people. But the point is the people who got into that land, right? Because they were really the enemies of the Most High and the enemies of the Most High's people. But no one thought to try these people, to test the spirit by the spirit to see whether they be of the Most High or not. But the Lord said that would happen. He says, because the enemy have said against you, aha, right? And that's exactly one of the sentiments of the the Israelis, the Jewish, right? The Jewish, right? Aha, right? So it's one of the things that they do. Even the ancient high places are in our possession. That's what they got. That's the ancient high place. That's where Yahweh Shai is going to rule the entire world when he returns. Him and King David, right? And of course, the 144,000. And of course, every Israelite's going to be a king. So the Lord may give you, small piece of a providence or something, or a place so you can rule. So But the main judges is Yahweh Shai and King David, and 144,000. See, but their thing is, matter of fact, where's King David? Because it says that King David will be with them, right? It says Yahweh Shai is going to be here. You say, where's Yahweh Shai? See, you're not testing this according to the scriptures, right? It says, but that's what that's their whole thing, is to be happy that they got the ancient high place. This is what the sovereign Yahweh Basham Yahushua says. Your enemies have taunted you, right? Saying, aha, now the ancient heights belong to us. Okay? That's what they're doing. That's where they're at. That's prophecy. Right? It says, therefore, prophesied, saying, thus saith the Adawan power, Most High Yahweh Basham Yahushua, because they have made you desolate, right? Put us in the ghettos, the vadios, and the reservations, and swallowed you up on every side, that you might be a possession, right? Chattel slavery, right? You went into slavery on ships, right? You should go into Egypt again with ships. See, that didn't happen to them, right? That you may be a possession unto the residue of what? Of the heathen. And it speaks that about that in Revelations 11. They said they send gifts one to another, that you be what? That you will be a possession to the what? Unto the residue of the heathen, and ye are taken up in the lips of talkers, right? Because they have these G Summit meetings and these BRICS meetings, even to this very day. You know, plotting their 15-minute cities, the micro C hipping, you know, making certain things illegal, da 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 da, so on and so forth. You know, free speech, so on. You know, how to control the internet, how to control, you know, everything, right? And are an infamy of the people. So we're famous, but we're not famous in the good sight of most people. But it doesn't even matter, because it's because right here it says much mocking and slander. See, and that's what they do. You're the black Hebrew Israelites, right? Much mocking and slander, but we're famous. They can't stop talking about us, because it's going to be their downfall, right? Right. This is Zechariah chapter 9, verse 6, right? Because if they would have tested the Spirit by the Spirit, according to the scriptures, like the Bereans, right, where they examined things through the scriptures, they would have been able to see something like this. A bastard, or right here it says, foreigner will occupy the city of Ashdod, right, which is a chief place, like a port city in Israel, right? And, you know, and will destroy the pride of the Philistines, right? Hey, and that's what happened, right? Because they're in the land and they're destroying those Palestinians, because that was their whole pride, that the Palestinians were like, hey, we were here before you, and they're over there wiping out Gaza like a mug, right? Matter of fact, it says this right here, up here. It says, Ashkelon shall see it and fear. Gaza also shall see it and be very sorrowful, right? Sorrowful. And Ekron and her expectations will be ashamed, right? See, that's what it was for them, the Gazans. They were expecting, they were there already, you know, the so-called Palestinians. They were there already. They've been there for a while. They were expecting to have, you know, to have that land. And if they couldn't have it, they would at least share it with these people. But they're bastards, man. They're bastards. They're not gonna play fair, man. Right? Instead, you got shame. Shall be ashamed, and the king shall perish, right? Because what they had, the Abdul Nasir, right? The king of Egypt, and a lot of that land, when they were fighting against them, and said that they should never have peace because they left black but came back white. See, and they killed them. So when you line things up with the scriptures from Gaza, and Ashkelon shall not be inhabited, right? right? But yeah. So this is Joel chapter 3, right? And then right here it tells you the nations will be judged. So that's why you're seeing all this stuff happen right now, right? Shameful spewing upon these heathens' glory, right? So that's why this is all basically coming up. So now you can see it. It was all meant to happen. A bastard had to dwell in Ashdod. They had to take the ancient high places and say, aha, you know, it all had to happen. But it's all for the forecoming of what? Of these nations' judgment. They will be judged. Yeah, see right here, I like this one, the way it says judgment against enemy nations, right? Which all these nations are enemies to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and his people, starting with the elect, right? And it says, for behold, in those days, right? Which we're there, we're at the days, we're at those days right now. It's happening right now, in this very millisecond. I don't even know how you. What's even lower than a millisecond? I don't know, right? Half a millisecond, right? I guess. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's here. Behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. It says, in those days and in that time, in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah, right, which is the southern kingdom, and Jerusalem, right, which I believe normally this Jerusalem represents the southern kingdom as well, but we understand that the all 12 tribes are going to be brought back together. So, you know, it says, and I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, right? And the Lord said, I will restore the prosperity the prosperity of Judah and Jerusalem, right? Which being that that's supposed to be the land of milk and honey, right? And right now they have to import all the flowers and the vegetation and the food to make it look like it's flourishing, but it's not flourishing. The rivers and the lakes and stuff is drying up. But when we get in that land, the Lord's going to put it all back. It's going to prosper. Not just talking about money. It's talking about the soil is going to be enriched. The rain, when it rains down on it, it's going to instantly cause things to grow and, you know, have complete nutrients. You know, that's how you have milk and honey. You know what I mean? Gold and silver and things are it's gonna prosper greatly once the true Israelites are back in that land. It says, I will gather the armies, right, of the world, which that's what's happening right now. Everybody, oh my God, Trump is going to go against Iran. We know it's going to start World War III. Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah, according to the scriptures, right? Into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, there will I judge them for harming my people, right? Putting us in the ghettos, the vadios, the reservations, right? And now ultimately, what they ready to put the micro C-hip in you, bring down National Guards and Marines and militias and all sorts of stuff against you, robot dogs and drones, Palantir. They ready to do it all. Yeah, oh wait, don't forget the micro C-hip. Did I say micro C-hip? Well, you can't get enough of saying the micro C-hip, right? Can't get enough of saying the MOTB, because that's ultimately what it's all about, you know, for them, but for the Most High too, because it it brings forth the Lord's determination, right? The Lord's determination is to what? Is to save his people and to destroy, right? Or judgment against the enemy nations, right? and judge them for harming my people, right? Right? It says, this is the valley of Yehoshaphat, and will plead with them for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations. And what? Wait, hear this. And parted my land. Who did they part the land with? With the Palestinians at one point in time. And now they don't even want to share that part, right? Because they're giving them shame. They're destroying them and wiping them out of that part of that land. You know? I don't know how to say that.
Special.
Oh, yeah. Special possession. My special possession. From scattering my people among the nations, right? Because they gave us as gifts, right? Going into Revelations 11. They sent gifts one to another. And we got shipped around the entire world. You know? And for dividing up my land. Yeah, and they did that with the Palestinians. What was it? I don't know. Was it the Temple Mound or whatever they was that they were saying? But they divided them with the people of the Palestinians between them and Gaza. But now they're just wiping those people out. So, you know, well, I might as well just keep going because it shows you this didn't happen to these people. It says, and they have casted lots for my people. It says they threw dice, right? And decided which of my people would be their slaves. Woo! Right? They traded boys to obtain prostitution. Right? Because they had the breeding farms for Jake. And that's where you get the word motherfucker, right? Because sometimes they would have them have sex with their own mother to breed stronger slaves. Because they felt like, well, you know, his mother's strong, he's strong. You could build stronger slaves. And then, you know, also with the genes being so close together, you know, that actually does something to the you know, the brain doesn't function right. So now you have a strong person, but the brain ain't all together because of the you know, your DNA is too close. You know? there's a lot of things, you know, reasons to do that, right? And sold a girl for enough wine to get drunk, right? And that was to those Hamites, right? It says, yea, what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon? And what do you have against me, Tyre and Zidon? Yeah, what do you have against the Most High? Why? The whole thing is the Lord said that he's angry with Edom, but you decided to join in with Edom and all these other different things. Well, said that they're confederate against thee, right? So you thought you'd be confederate against the Most High with Edom. Well, it says, it says Tyre and Zidon and your cities of the Philistine, right? Which that's where Palestine is supposed to be Palestine, but you know, are you trying to take refuge against me or revenge against me, Salakia? If you are, then watch out. I will strike swiftly and pay you back for everything you have done. And that's what's going to happen. It says, will you render me a recompense? Would I swiftly and speedily return? What swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head, right? That's coming. It says, you have taken my silver and gold and my precious treasures and have carried them off to a pagan temple, right? And that's this place over here, Babylon the Great, right? The temple of Molech, because ain't nothing but things of Molech actually happening over here. It says, because you have taken my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my goodly and pleasant things, right? Yeah, that's this place right here. America's like a big shrine for Molech, right? That's why America's like the smallest population on the planet, but the most children come up missing from America. But they come up missing from every country in America. So these people are all complicit. Every country out there with their police, their military, everything's complicit with the child trafficking. You know what I'm saying? So you can't beat them. The only thing is what the Lord's judgment, right? And this shows you that they're deep into that child trafficking, because that's what it said. You've taken a boy and made him as a harlot, and then you sold a girl for wine that they may get drunk, that they may drink. So this goes all the way back to then, that they were doing that to us, casting lots, selling the slaves. That was us. It says the children of Israel, or children of Judah, and the children of Jerusalem, right? Right, have ye sold, right? The southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And then you even did it to Gad, Reuben, Issachar, right? The northern kingdom have ye sold unto the Grecians, right? And we know the Grecians are supposed to be so-called white people, right? You go back into history, they tell you Alexander the Great, so forth. His children, Titus, Vespasian, right? Came in, sacked Jerusalem, right? 70 AD, where a million, with a million very brown, which they say black Jews, but there's no such thing as black. They were Israelites, dark skinned, from a dark hue to a light hue. Israelites, million, fled into the western part of Africa, which eventually you came and got us as slaves. And what they sold us, and that's going to them Hamites that was in that land, Tyre and Zidon, grabbing us up, and then Ishmael, already being part of that slave trade, basically helped them. Because we were already in slavery under Ishmael. because we had the Arab slave trade. So that was Ishmael too, selling us. You know, why they want to say so-called black people sold black people. Well, Ishmael, well, a lot of Ishmaelites are dark skinned. You know what I'm saying? But you know, foolish Edomites. You know, to them everybody look alike. So, but it says, yeah, unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border, right? Took us from you know, they were doing it in 70 AD. They were rounding us up because it says from Roman enslavement and persecution, that they fled into the interiors, you know, of the world, really. But this part said Africa, specifically showing you that we fled into Africa, right? So you have sold the people of Judah and Jerusalem, right? Southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, to the Greeks, so that so they could take them far from their homeland, right? And so when they was able to take us from our homeland, what do? They popped up and go, oh, we belong in this land. We fit Bible prophecy. See why they needed to take us from our homeland? Now you people who didn't pay attention to the scriptures didn't know why we end up having to get taken from our homeland. You know? And you're supposed to have the right of return, and even when they do, those ones they gave them is Pomona, Israel, and it's on the land's on a site of radiation or something. It was like a radiation plant there, and they gave him that land. You know. Yeah, so Deuteronomy 28:68, right? When you go into this verse, you know, at the very top, you have all these blessings. If you obey me, obey the law, statutes, commandments, which, of course, we know the Israelites did not obey. So you read verse 15. It says, if you don't obey, all these curses shall come upon you. And basically, you wouldn't be able to put it off, right? And they you know, and skipping all the way down, showing that they sold us, they cast lots, you know, 145. I got a nice buck right here. Look at this nigger. Look at I got a nice buck. You know, 145 sold, right? That's what they did to us. They cast lots for the Lord's people. And they sold them to the Grecians, and then when the Grecians brought us over here, that self-proclaimed so-called white man, who eventually, you know, through his court system, deemed himself to be white, right? Now you people can't see anything wrong, right? But it says and Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again, because we disobeyed him. You know, his people. We disobeyed, worship other gods, did all sorts of nonsense, right? So it says, and the Lord said, well, I'll send you to Egypt again with ships. Then shall ye be, Slakia, and Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way wherefore I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. No man shall redeem you. Because the Lord said that when he comes back, he's not going to meet his enemies, right? It just said the judgment of the enemies, right? The enemies of God, or the enemy nations, right? So that's the judgment that the Lord's going to do. And he's not going to come and meet them as a man when he comes and judge them. So he's going to redeem his people. He's going to bring back the captivity, right? This is what he's like. This verse is putting us into captivity, but then he's going to bring us out of captivity, right? Then the Lord Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash will send you back to Egypt in ships, right? Slavery, bondage, to a distant nation. I promised you, right? I promise you whatever you see, you wouldn't, I promise you would never see again. There you will offer to sell yourselves to your enemy, which don't make sense. This is like a crazy breakdown that they're trying to give you. You will sell yourselves to your enemy, but to your enemies as a slave, but no one will buy you, which doesn't make sense anyway, because we were already in slavery, right? And we just read Joel 3 where it said they sold us, they cast lots, so they did sell us. So whoever came up with this madness, right, don't make sense. See, and that's why the Lord's going to destroy this place. That's why it can't be God saves the Edomites, God bless America. See, you do some heinous, crazy stuff like that, and you may think it's small, but that's very big and very significant. Especially after we just read Joel, it said that he sold us. They sold us, and we know they sold us. You know what I'm saying? You tried to sell yourself. Yeah. Well, they moved us far from our border. So how did I get on the ship to go far from my border? And then when I got to a place far from my border, I'm going to sell myself. No. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to do that, you sell yourself closer to home. If you're gonna do that, you wouldn't get on a ship somewhere else. And it wasn't like they had what's that shit called? Western Union. Yeah, it's not like they had Western Union or something like that back then. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go over here and then that way when I get this money, I'm gonna Western Union it back to you. Well, that didn't exist. So you would never do that. That doesn't make sense. How could you support your family? See? But it said they grabbed us up as slaves. See? And we know who owned the slave ships, right? And they were the slave masters in a lot of instances, So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father, and have come back to the fold, Shalom, to your sisters, you Achwatim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and the Bible ball, Kwam Yasharallah.